Welcome, everybody, to the new and improved Netflix Weekly, where we're going to be less profane, less pornographic, and answering your questions that you ask us via Twitch, live streaming, Discord, Steam, all these different game platforms. That
until Rob has to talk about women in general.
Also, what actually? So I know what Twitch is. What is Discord?
A Discord is basically a chat. It's like chat / message board, but you can also do like audio and video through it.
So why would you use, like, what capacity would we use Discord in?
Well, we really don't need it right now. Okay. If we had a big following, it might be something fun to throw in the mix. It's not necessary.
Isn't that what Twitch would be?
Twitch is basically live streaming of whatever you're doing. So live streaming, and it has a chat by chance on the side so that you can have interaction. But this is just like, you wouldn't use Discord at the same time as you're doing a live stream. That'd be pointless. You'd either use live YouTube or live Twitch and use their chat.
YouTube, never thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we should do for our next one. Nobody will show up, of course, but at least we can say, hey, we were live and you missed us.
Again, it's the same software. So what we could do, one thing I noticed is that you can post your video as a premiere or something. I forgot what the naming convention is for it, but then you would watch it at the time designated when it goes live.
Okay.
And then you could chat with people that are watching it with you.
That'd be all right. I'd rather answer questions live, but I can see the benefit.
Yeah. There's reasons for it. Depends what you're doing, really. Depends what you're doing. Yeah. Welcome to Netflix Weekly.
Welcome to Netflix Weekly. I am your host, Diamond Robb, and with me, as always, is
the Phil Online on anything.
Oh yeah, I guess I should say. I think I'm different on everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone has that name.
What? I'm different on everything?
Different.
I'm pretty sure it's an LGBT group. I'm different on everything. But no, I'm...
Speaking of which, I do want to say Happy Pride Month.
Yay! I do admit that all the memes about Pride Month and how companies kind of try to wear that pride flag for the month feel very artificial.
Like
depending on the company.
Yeah.
My favorite one that just is oh shit. Oh darn, it was right on the tip of my tongue. I was just thinking about it. I can't remember now. But it's that's gonna bother me now. Oh, but whatever. It's one of those companies that as soon as Pride Month is over, it's back to business as usual.
Yeah.
But we want you to know that, hey, we're inclusive now. It's almost like, and I know, I'm sure they don't do it, but like Harley Davidson. If Harley Davidson was to, like, we're big men, we're tough, we ride bikes. Also, we're good with gay people. It's like, that's never going to fucking happen. And I'll remember who that company is by the end of this podcast for sure.
Challenge accepted. The other thing is, it was my son's birthday this past week.
He's now 19.
He's now 9. Yeah, 6 going on 19. That kind of feels like that. It just got into my
revolving door of girlfriends in that house, so that's got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I let them do whatever in the other room. Yeah,
that's good parenting.
I bought him Minecraft, so he's getting into that.
For what system?
iPad. I tried doing it on the Xbox, but then it had to sign me out, and I'm sure there's a whole shabab about how to do that. But I just was like, screw it. I'll put it on the iPad. He has the iPad. It'll work, and he's been in his room all day.
Nice. Yeah, the Xbox, same thing. It took a while to figure out how you buy and let other people use and blah, blah, blah. It
needs to be streamlined. Really does, that part.
Well, you know what? I'd say fucking worse than Microsoft's Xbox is Nintendo's. Nintendo's usage of the family is horribly convoluted, man. Yeah,
I agree. They need a whole workaround for family type situations. Happy Father's Day, Rob.
Oh, what's that? Have I
By the
missed it?
time this comes out, it'll be like a couple of days till Father's Day, so we might as well bring it up
Oh,
before it happens.
happy Father's Day to you. What do you anticipate getting, if anything?
A headache.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I anticipate getting nothing. I anticipate having to fix a bunch of stuff, print a bunch of 3D stuff out, being told that's not right. I've done it wrong. I've got to do it again. Hey, can you take care of this? Hey, when are you going to do this? So basically,
And Rob, tomorrow's my birthday, so I expect that butt plug to be 3D printed.
It will be. You know what? I'll
I've been waiting.
I'll get some little like feathers and pizzazz to go on the end of it. So you look like a
I
furry
don't
when
want
you're walking
feathers up
around.
there. I really do not. Oh, you mean the other
Yeah.
end?
So you'll be walking around with pictures of you with a fucking bubble like in your mouth, like, no, Phil, you're wearing it wrong, buddy.
No,
That's not how it's supposed to work.
No. Anything else we need to talk about
No,
before
I can.
honorable
I guess
mentions?
one honorable mention the E3 that just happened. A bunch of cool games announced. My wife was very excited about Breath of the Wild 2, seeing some new screenshot or some new video from that. My boys were super excited about Mario Golf.
Rushers or something.
Yeah, there's some game. They're like
It's running.
animal brawlers or some.
Oh yeah,
some
that
shit.
looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course Mario Party with the 100 new
Mario,
mini games. Everybody's
yeah,
psyched for that.
that looks good. If I had a Switch, I'd be buying that.
Yeah,
Also,
it's
Xbox One.
Xbox
Microsoft
One.
won the E3 press conference.
Oh,
They had
you're
the
talking
most
about the Xbox
best
One,
one.
the fucking device.
Yeah, the
I don't
Xbox
know.
One. Get
I
one
was
now.
watching. I can't remember if it was a girl with Xbox and because it was Microsoft and Bethesda together, or if she was part of that the one from the earlier day. It was,
Devolver
I think,
Digital.
Take Two, or it might have been, or Take Two Interactive. It might have been. I can't remember. Or no, Ubisoft. Sorry, she was part of Ubisoft.
Okay.
And she kept on talking like this. So I know I'm in a frame here, but her hands, every time she said something, she was doing this. And it reminded me of, remember Ricky Bobby, that terrible Will Ferrell movie, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, it was called. And he's like, what do I do with my hands? I can't figure out what I'm doing with my hands. It was literally right out of that. I was like, Jesus Christ, lady, stop fucking moving your hands. Just put them at your sides or something.
If you want an example of how not to do an E3 press conference, go watch the Koch Media press conference. It was basically a podcast. It was just people talking. It was awful. It was plain awful.
Wasn't there one a few years ago when I can't remember what gaming company it was because I'm not a gamer, where they were talking about, hey, the new game they're coming out with, and it was mobile, and the crowd started to fucking boo. I'm like, and you'd think that you know what your audience wants. That they sure as hell don't want a goddamn mobile game, especially when you've been playing it like on a platform like PlayStation or Xbox or Switch or something.
Read the room.
Idiots bring in a mobile device.
Mm-hmm. One good one that was surprising was Devolver Digital. You should.
Devolver makes. I've heard that before. They make. It's not Red Dead Redemption, is it? That's made by 2K. That's made by.
That's 2K. Take Two.
2K games, right? Yeah. No, I've heard Devolver. They've.
2K did a horrible. Well, they did representation and gaming panel or something. I'm sorry. There's a place for everything, but you don't need to do a panel when people are expecting you to announce some games.
Right. That's why I love Nintendo's, man. Nintendo fucking got. You're right.
Nintendo Bethesda did really well.
My only problem with the Bethesda stuff that came out with Xbox is, and maybe it's just because it's not my. I'm not a gamer at all, but a lot of the games that come out from Xbox, they feel very similar. A lot of first-person shooters. And this is going to be my biggest problem when we finally start talking about Awake and Sweet Tooth is, there's been an apocalypse and one person has survived. It's like, dude, enough of this fucking shit. It does. But what I like is you rarely, if ever, see that on the Switch, which I like a lot.
Rob likes the Kirby's Dream Land type games.
That's right. So. Yep. I like the main thing I like about Kirby. Oh, no, never mind. I'm not going to say it. We're PG or PG-13 now. So can't say what I like about Kirby, but I'm sure the majority of people who know me can piece together what I like about Kirby.
Make it quick, not about Kirby. Anything recycling wise? We have to throw that in there.
Nope, not yet.
All right.
But I am doing a trip down to Brampton this weekend to bring a whole shit ton of garbage because the dump in Kingston fucking sucks. So
Yeah, you might
going
as
to
well pay
Brampton
for
where
the
it's much better.
gas as well. And
I get to visit my dad. I mean, let's be real. The main reason I go is not to go to the fucking dump. As nice as dumps are, I'm not going to drive 3.5 hours to go to a fucking dump. I go and visit my dad. So
it's all right. You already live at one. So Kingston. Um,
Burn.
let's go into honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions for me. I watched.
I have a lot.
So do I, because
don't.
we've
We'll
the
make it
first
quick.
reason we couldn't record was last week was I had my COVID shot and I felt like it was my first shot. I felt like dog shit for 2 days. Not terrible, but just not. I knew I wouldn't be at 100% when we were doing this. So I'm like, I don't want to be like, hey Phil, how are you?
The COVID shot will do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait till you're second.
and then that's what everyone keeps saying. The second one's going to be fucking terrible. Have you had your second one yet?
No, my wife's gonna have it in like Father's Day. So
lucky. There's your present for Father's Day. Lucky. But then so and then you were feeling shitty, so that screwed that week over. But we've still kept on pushing it down a little bit this week to Wednesday. Usually we record Monday. We keep on pushing it down to Wednesday. And we're finally here. So I've had a lot of time to watch some stuff. I was listening to a different podcast that I've since stopped listening to. And I think I brought this up before. As soon as the whoever I'm listening to on that podcast says something unforgivable, and by unforgivable I mean everybody likes different stuff and everybody thinks different stuff is funny or whatever. But as soon as you say something that is uniformly not true, like for me, best example is this guy says, "Hey, Adam Sandler has made some good movies. Adam Sandler's pretty funny." As soon as I hear that, I'm like, nope, I will never trust your opinion ever again. The other one that I stopped listening to,
and lost your trust in my opinion a long time ago.
Right. I'm not going to listen. But I'm not going to listen to a podcast if someone likes Adam Sandler. Another guy that I stopped listening to, he said Boyhood by Richard Linklater was an amazing movie. Like if you've never seen Boyhood, oh my God, run from it. If you see a copy of it, set it on fire so you never have to watch it. It's one of the worst things you'll ever watch. If you see a
copy of it, how many times do you go to a place to rent movies?
And maybe you see it's streaming. Just shoot your television with a fucking gun or like a bow and arrow.
There you go.
But but these guys were talking on podcast I was listening to. They were talking about John Carpenter movies. And I was like, God damn it, I got into kick for John Carpenter movies. So I got hold of really all of John Carpenter's movies, and I've been watching them slowly but surely. And watching the bad ones and the good ones. So watching for every Big Trouble in Little China, there's also going to be an Escape from L.A., and for every Escape from New York, there's also going to be a Vampires. So watching all those, and my son, my oldest son, loves to draw, and he's 12. And so I said, Dexter, why don't you watch The Thing with me? It's got some fascinating creatures in it. And he was fucking terrified of the movie. But ever since then, he's been drawing shit from The Thing. He's been going on to the Thing wiki, looking up stuff that happens in the new Thing, the one from 2011. It's kind of a prequel, and drawing shit from that. So now he wants to watch the prequel Thing from 2011. So him and I are going to watch that tomorrow. But yeah, it's been a lot of John Carpenter has been. Oh, and I also watched Showgirls in 4K, which I put on Instagram, which
Jesse Spano.
I keep on calling her because I never watched
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. I never watched Saved by the Bell. I keep on calling her AJ Slater. And I know, well, Karen and Leslie informed me it's C. Slater is the Mexican dude or Hispanic dude.
Yeah, her boyfriend.
But okay, for some reason I kept on calling her AJ Slater all the time. And I still, now when I start talking about it, I forget and I call her that. And I found out after I was done watching Showgirls that there was actually a documentary made about Showgirls called You Don't Know Me, Nomi. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And that'll be on my honorable mentions for next week. But yeah, a lot of John Carpenter, Showgirls in 4K, which is dog shit. And that's about it. What about you?
First of all, Jupiter's Legacy has not been renewed.
That's right. I meant to bring that up.
Sadness.
I read, I got hold, or I shouldn't say I got hold of, we went to Nexus this weekend while my sons were looking at comics. I was leafing through the Jupiter's Legacy comic. And it is significantly different than the show. So that was interesting. And then I had and we'll discuss this when the time comes for it, but I had a great talk with the guy about the Sweet Tooth show versus the comic book. Some interesting comparisons there when we talk about it. But I'm sorry, I interrupted your honorable mentions.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Black Summer season 1. I went into it. That's the zombie TV series I told you about on Netflix. What's different about this one is there's basically no what's the word for it?
Zombies.
No, there's no zombies in this zombie movie.
They're all 3D added afterwards. So
at this point,
people going,
it's just a movie. No, when you're trying to explain things between action points, like there's no
like plot or coherence or
like the
connective tissue.
Basically awake. Got there first. I'm sorry. Basically the explanation of plot points between
things.
Like
exposition.
That's it. Yeah. There's no exposition at all. There's no explanation of what's going on. It's just straight up point A to point B in segments.
So just like Awake.
Yes, but at least it's good. Like they're not pretending to be coherent. That's a bad way to put it. They're not. It's really good because did you watch? What's the first? It's the first movie of the movie that's currently in theaters.
Yes, that movie. I believe the first movie was
John Krasinski.
Quiet Place.
Yes.
I watched the first one. Yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed Quiet Place.
It was tense. You were I was holding onto the chair and I was like,
yeah, it was. Yeah, very tense movie. It was good.
Really good. So it gave me feels of that mixed with like a zombie thing. So like you could go into it and go, that's horse shit because I know you, but you might want to check it out. Season 2 starts tomorrow, I think, I think it was supposed to be my birthday, but then I got into
fuck it up, Netflix.
Yeah, fuck up my birthday.
Now it's ruined.
Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich on Netflix.
Yeah, watch that. That was great.
It was a good one.
Very, very creepy guy.
Very depressing and sad. It's very good to watch if you're not in the know or only a little bit in the know of what happened. It'll explain a lot.
Like I'm sure everybody's seen that Epstein didn't kill himself, and they've probably seen a little bit about him in the news. And at least in the first part of that series, they talk about how he's kind of a wonderkind. Like he was kind of a wonderkind that everybody wanted to know, but nobody knew what the fuck he actually did. Mm-hmm. And then it talks about how, his escapades with very young girls, that it was, even for like an old pervert like me, I was like, ooh, gross, this guy is. And he just,
a pyramid scheme of young girls.
Yeah, and you look at the guy, you're like, yeah, he's kind of a scumbag.
Total. It's worth watching. And then other thing I'll say, because I feel like I have to, if anything like that happens to you with anybody, say no and leave. Punch them in the balls. Call us. We don't want, as men, we don't want to be punched in the balls. So do that.
Yep. Also, you can contact us on Reddit, and we'll come and punch that person in the fucking balls afterwards as well.
If they have any. If they don't,
Phil's a big
we
guy,
will attach balls to them and punch them. Loki. Did you watch episode 1?
I haven't watched it yet. No, I've been hearing mixed reviews about it, and I haven't started watching it yet. I want to get through the Bad Batch.
I'm guessing that's because people are expecting a big supervillain movie, and what you're getting is more of a detective show.
Really? Okay.
It's like Detective Through Time.
Okay.
I won't say anything more. I don't want to ruin it for you.
I love Tom Hiddleston. I think he's a fantastic actor. He did an amazing job playing Loki. His other stuff is better. but he's a well, except that movie he did with Guillermo del Toro. But he's a fantastic actor, and he's a lot of fun to watch in that role. So I'm looking forward to it. I just haven't watched it yet.
I like it. I think the wife is ho hum about it, just like Captain and Soldier
Captain
Metal
Soldier,
Arm.
yes, Captain Soldier Metal Arm.
Captain Soldier Metal Arm coming to Disney Plus.
Now, what you need to do is you need to make a picture, Captain Soldier Metal Arm, and that's got to be the fucking logo for the for this episode.
For this episode, oh great, fun.
Captain Soldier, that's a good one. Captain Soldier Metal Arm.
Yes, so that Loki's good. I watched a movie that is not on Netflix. Surprise, surprise. That should have been in theaters, in my point of view. It's called Infinite. Just came out, and it has see, this is my mind. This is what's fun with my mind is I can't remember
the same actor who plays Captain
the same guy from The Happening.
Oh, Marky Mark.
Yeah, I believe so.
Captain
and
Metal Underpants.
It's basically a people who have died are come back to life in a new body.
Okay.
What's that called?
Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. Thank you. I didn't take my pills.
I thought you were asking me for the title of the movie. I'm like, didn't you just say it that it was called Infinite?
Okay, so reincarnation is a thing, but only for an elite few. Like you don't get to choose. But they have been coming back over and over again, and you keep. I guess as of puberty, you remember basically everything that you have done before. So you keep compounding knowledge. So you become like these ultimate beings of knowledge, and like not ultimate beings of knowledge, but you have. I know kung fu 50 times over. You know what, that kind of thing.
So, but could you come back as a girl? Because I don't want a girl remembering any of the disgusting shit that I did to myself when I was going through puberty.
At that point, when you're coming back multiple times as guys and girls and whatnot, it's just gonna be normal either way. So it doesn't matter. That first time, not so much.
I was gonna say I did some stuff that girls would be like, "This is not normal thoughts that are going on in my head."
So the point of the movie, which honestly should have been a show, but it was good. The point of it is a bad guy who used to be a good guy who developed a technology that will erase all of humanity from the earth, or all of life in general, even plants, animals, everything, so that he doesn't ever come back, because he doesn't want to come back. And so that puts everything in danger, and they have to stop it. That's it. And
Marky Mark is one of these people that keeps on getting reincarnated.
I believe it's Mark Wahlberg. But anyway, it's really good. It reminded me like Mission Impossible or Born Identity type vibes, like in terms of the action. I was surprised at how much money was put into the action scenes and the movie in general. So like, to me, this it Fast and the Furious type thing. Like the first big car scene chase thing was amazing. It looked like something that would have been in Fast 9 that's coming out very soon. We're not sponsored.
So there's something called F&F apparently that I thought was Fast and the Furious, and my sons are correcting me. They're like, no, it's F&F. I mean, what the fuck is F&F then? F&F. I'm like, that's not, that doesn't help me to fucking understand it any further. But it is not Fast and Furious. That's what so I started going epinephrine. They're like, no. So having kids is great. The only sponsor we have.
I love kids. How that's where it went. You didn't explain what it is. You leave everyone hanging. You're like explaining something like I do. No, so FNF, Infinite is really
by Captain Metal Punch Face.
I would like you to go watch Infinite. I'm not talking to the audience. I'm talking to my co-host. Yeah, you should go watch it. I want to know what you think next week.
If it is Marky Mark, I can tell you out of the gate, I'm not going to. Well, that's not true. Marky Mark has been in 2 movies that I have really, really enjoyed. So maybe this will be another one that I do.
Like The Happening.
Yeah, well, The Happening
That's your
and
favorite.
wasn't he in Max Payne?
Transformers.
Oh shit, there's the other one I love him in. Yep, Transformers.
Wasn't it the night or something?
Yeah,
Transformers Knights of the
the
Round
night of the
Table.
metal, the night of the metal punch face armor,
Metal arm.
gridlock, metal arm. Yeah,
All
I
right.
fuck. I could never. You know what? I remember I went and saw that first Transformers movie opening night, and I'll never forget. So I'm sitting there, and I'm fucking old.
It's
So
like
I'm an old
watch.
guy in the audience.
Can I just say? Can I just say that's like going to that reboot of TMNT?
Did you go to that opening night?
Heck no.
You should have, but no.
No.
So yes, I went to. I knew it was Michael Bay. I'm like, all right, Michael Bay sucks, but okay, I'm gonna go see this. So I'm sitting there, and me and my buddy Neil, who went, we got only seats super fucking close to the screen, and
Oh,
the
that's
guy
awful.
beside me, and I was like, I don't know, like 50, however old I was back whenever that movie came out.
50
And the kid
pounds.
beside me, he was like fucking 19, 18, 19. And this kid beside me, as the fucking lights are going down, he goes to me, or he doesn't go to me, but I just heard him like whisper, please let this be better than sex. And I was like, what? And I'm thinking in my head, how bad has the sex that this poor kid has had that he's
Wait.
going to hope that the Transformers movie is going to be better?
How old were you?
Oh shit, I don't know. I'm 43. Yeah,
You
43 now.
finally got his age. You got his age.
Lucky. So I don't know. In my early 30s. I don't remember when that movie came out.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll never forget that. That was the weirdest thing. The weirdest thing I ever saw going to a movie theater, and not the weirdest, but the worst that made me want to go and yell at someone was I went. Me and the girl I was dating at the time, because I just read the book, I went and saw Hannibal. And if you ever saw Hannibal, it's a very violent movie, especially this guy named Mason Verger, who Hannibal got him high on drugs and convinced him to eat parts of his face. And these people, it was like fucking 11:30 at night. It was like the last show. These people had brought their like 5-year-old daughter, and she's in the back of the fucking theater watching this movie, and she's like crying at these scenes with Mason Verger. And I'm like, why would you bring your child to this movie? Of all movies, why would you bring your child to a movie where you're going to watch a guy eat his own face, as well as later on you see Ray Liotta eat his own brain? Like, come on, dude. This is not a movie you bring a kid to.
I would mention the weirdest thing that happened to me in a theater, but we're supposed to be more
more
PG. So how would we rate our PG performance so far this episode?
I give it an R.
All right, let's move into which one do you want to do first? It's up to you.
Let's do Sweet Tooth. I have a lot of stuff to say about Sweet Tooth, but I think I can combine it all into quick synopsises. So Sweet Tooth is based on a comic book, and an English comic book that came out about 10 years ago. Never read the comic. But we were recently at the Nexus. We decided this weekend we could finally go out shopping. We went to the Nexus.
Yeah.
We're looking around. My wife was looking at acrylic paints because I started printing 3D stuff, 3D like Zeldas and Links that she wants to paint. And I just got into a conversation with the guy about Sweet Tooth, and he's like, what do you think of the show? And I was like, I'm not sold on it. I said, I'm not too big on it. And he was like, yep, it's definitely a different animal than the comic. He said, it's kind of, what do you prefer? Do you prefer nice happy stories like the TV show was, or do you prefer bleak stories? I'm like, I'm always bleak, man. I am 100% love bleak stuff. And he's like, that's the comic book. The comic book is apparently far bleaker than the show, which I wish the show would have been far more bleak than it is.
Yeah. A little more gritty.
And also there was too much convenience in this show, and I'll describe what I mean in a bit. But I found a lot of the parts, a lot of the what happens to characters very convenient. Like, oh, that's convenient that guy's there. Oh, that's convenient that your friend who you played fucking ball with is one of the other people on this train that nobody should be on. Like, well, that's fucking convenient. Though that got on my nerves a lot. But the main thing, not the main thing, at the start, I'll say the first thing, I'm tired, and I think it's just because this is the majority of movies that we see coming out now because it sells. There's been an apocalypse, be it a zombie apocalypse, a virus apocalypse, a somehow apocalypse. Everybody's wiped out, but there's one special boy. And this is exactly how this started. The world is destroyed, but this special boy. I'm like, man, enough of this. I'm so tired. And it's like, I understand there's, only so many stories in the world, but I'm tired of this one. It's to me, and I know there's going to be a ton more like it, but just as of right now, I'm tired of it. But one thing that bothered me was the narrator says some stories start at the beginning, but ours starts right here. And I'm like, dumbass, every story starts at the fucking beginning. The very first time you're introduced to a story, that is the beginning for you. You might jump back in the past or jump forward to the future, but you always start at the goddamn beginning of the story. So even the narrator saying that, I was like, that's dumb. To say that our story starts here, not at the beginning. I'm like, this is the fucking beginning, you dumbass. Then it was into a bunch of questions for myself. Why is Will Forte the only guy that decided to go live in a forest? I would believe that a lot of people would probably run to a non-rural area after an apocalypse. They would find little pockets of areas to live in, be it fucking underground sewers or fucking Yosemite Park. Like, they'd find areas to live. And
especially the people that are watching movies or TV shows like this.
Or the people that have a great knowledge and know how to survive in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, why is he the only one? And he's the only one there for, I want to say, like a good, maybe mile perimeter. Like, how the fuck is he the only guy there? I don't buy that at all. But then so it shows. So the story starts with Will Forte has this little kid that he calls Gus. And there's a thing called the sick that's wiping out the world. Your pinky finger starts to twitch, and then I guess you die. They don't really go into detail about how you die. It's just, oh, my pinky finger's twitching, dead. I know you get sick and then you die, but nothing past that.
It's like
everybody's
fever.
dying. What's that?
It's like a fever, I believe.
I guess, but they never, like, they showed some people coughing, but then nothing past that. At least that I fucking remember. But basically, most people dying of the sick, some people are immune, and babies have started being born as hybrids with animals. So Gus is, I believe, is a deer, and a boy. So for some reason, Will Forte has him. Will Forte raises him as his kid in the forest where no one can find them, apparently, because nobody went to look in the forest. And 7 years go by, and I wrote down, I refuse to believe that Will Forte's glasses have lasted for 7 years. Because as someone now, I only wear my glasses in front of my computer when I'm reading. I have broken like 3 pairs of glasses.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that this guy's glasses are going to last for 7 fucking years. And also,
maybe he brought 7 pairs of glasses with him.
Oh, one for every year. That's like a birthday present. That makes sense. Or maybe he took like Coke bottles and like cut them somehow and like put Coke bottles into his glasses.
He was a janitor, so he knew what to do.
That's a good point. He knew how to cut glass and make, he knew his own prescription. So yeah, he's a smart guy. Also, I wrote down in the very first show, I'm calling it right now that the narrator is Gus in the future, reciting his own story. It just feels like that's exactly where this is leading.
Could be.
And then this is the I've got a whole bunch of other shit, but this is the one thing that really encapsulates how I feel about a good chunk of this whole series. I know this trope's a common one, but I'm just getting sick of it. We've seen it for hundreds of years in books and movies, but I feel like it's starting to get worn out, and I think that's a fault of Hollywood because they can't come up with anything new. So they're constantly just taking this same shiny rock that there's an apocalypse and there's a child, usually a child or person who's got to save us, who's got to lead us out of the dark, and everything is going to be great on the other side of this apocalypse. That's a stone they keep on shining and changing a little tiny bit, and then we get the story. That's what I mean when you think of it. WALL-E is just like that.
Netflix zombie movie that you just watched, the kid with the gifts or something.
Oh yeah, the girl with all the gifts. Girl with all the gifts is different, a little tiny bit different. But again, yeah, you're exactly right. It's that same trope. You know what I mean? Where there's a kid that's going to save us from everything. It's just it's. I'm tired of it, and I'm tired of it. Like people in the early '70s were tired of these fucking big budget disaster movies. It's all that was coming out, and then there was a huge change when they started bringing all these indie directors for stuff. And I'm hoping that this is indicative of what's going to be happening. I think everybody is getting superheroed out if they're not superheroed out already. And I'm hoping that more people are getting tired of, dude, this fucking, there's an apocalypse. One person's going to save us from it. This is done. And we get on a new trope. And hopefully it's a good one.
I agree. There's nothing really new about the show. It's aside from you putting in the fact that the kids are animals, which like you could take that out and still have the same movie or show. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was quality, well written, pretty much throughout. I liked the arc that happened throughout. I liked the reveals, especially near the end. Did you watch the whole series?
Yep. Yep.
So like,
yeah, I found a lot of the reveals very predictable.
well,
Like I just
not Pig Girl being the sister of
no,
Bear.
but again, that's very convenient. It's one of those things that's just it's
Again,
too convenient.
spoilers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But you know, these people are going to be going, who the fuck is Pig Girl? But there's too much of it that was too convenient in a lot of scenes for me. Like the biggest one, the biggest convenience for me was so
Football
big
players?
man. They get on this. What's that?
The football players.
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
that's stupid. Like
I
that's
liked
just
the interaction
so did I. But
during that. It was
it's
well
the
done.
reality of it that
Yeah.
you're like no like and it would have made way more sense if that guy was just kind of maybe like a kind-hearted dummy, you know what I mean, that was on the train, that he was a nice guy and he was kind of easy to manipulate. That to me would have made way more sense than, and it would have been more believable than, oh yeah, man, we used to play football together. Here we are in a fucking train that no one's supposed to be on going to Colorado, but we've just bumped into each other again. That's like you and I going to either end of the fucking earth and then coming back to Kingston and accidentally running into each other. Like, what are the fucking odds?
It revealed more about Big Man or whatever they call them, and it revealed it worked because you felt for this new character that you only got to see in this one episode.
Yeah, but it was very, I'd call it manipulative, but I see where you're coming from, that it was honest. At least it was honest. It was just convenient. And I don't like convenience in movies.
I
it
think
gets on my nerves.
with this series, you kind of have to be like professional wrestling. You have to like ignore the fact that it's fake. Like,
yeah. And there's a lot, especially in a story like this, there's going to be a lot of fucking convenience because there's a lot of story that we got to tell. And like you just said with that movie you were watching that didn't have any sort of exposition, the exposition in this show. So best example of where I was like, yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense, but who cares? So at the end of it, big man gets shot, you know, Sweet Tooth, even though he's never worked on electronics before, he somehow figures out how to fix the walkie or the CB in a plane.
that was Bear.
What do you mean that was Bear?
Oh, in the plane. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah. You're right.
But well, how was this plane still running? How was there still a battery?
Okay,
how
so that was power?
You're
You're right. That was my biggest issue. Was not the fact that Sweet Tooth said, I got it to work. I just throw away as like a kid saying, oh, it's working, right?
Yep.
That's how I felt that was. But you're right. The fact that this plane looks like it's been down for like what, 5, maybe 7 to 8 years, right?
Yep.
Has been grown over, and you're going to tell me that this battery, while this radio had been on the whole time,
that's right,
has lasted for 8 years or 7 years. Yeah. That's the biggest drop for me. I was just like, what?
For me, I saw that and I was like, that's really stupid, but it's a plot of convenience. He's got to somehow get those bad guys to come catch him. So I'm
the
like,
only,
all right, fine.
The only thing I could think of is like this is stretching them, is that the bad guys put a trap. This is a trap, right. And they every now and then they change the battery, and it just gets people's attention as they go by.
Powered plane.
I was saying that to the wife. Maybe it's solar power. No, but it was a big like what? And then also they didn't explain. Okay, so big guy is sitting there with Sweet Tooth, and they're having a heartfelt moment, and it's really nice. Okay, yeah. And then all of a sudden, Big Man goes down. It looks like he's having a heart attack. Like that's what I thought first and foremost. It wasn't obvious, and then there's blood, and I'm like, how heart attacks don't work that way,
right?
And then,
they must have, and that's why I was like, they must have shot him from the back because there's no entry wound.
No,
no exit wound in the front.
Oh, I thought it was like a sniper rifle from the front or something. I don't know.
No, because there was no entry wound in the front, and then it starts bleeding out of his shoulder. And then remember later on when we see him, it's all wrapped around his chest. He's taking his shirt off, or top of his shirt, and it's all wrapped around his chest. So I was like, okay, he got shot in the chest. But in that whole scene, what bothers me the most is Big Man gets shot, Big Man drops, bad guys show up, and this guy is the most generic fucking bad guy since Eggman in Sonic the Hedgehog. This guy was fucking terrible, but I was like, okay, this guy's perfectly terrible. They show up, they take Sweet Tooth, and Big Man is left there for dead. Oh, he's a traitor. He was supposed to round these kids up, and he didn't. Oh, fuck this guy. Why you wouldn't shoot him in the head is beyond me, but who cares? But then Big Man's just lying there dying, and I was like, okay, the part that's got to happen here is, if you remember Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, Aragorn goes over the side of the water. He's floating down the stream. He gets to the side of the stream. He finds his first Brago. He gets on top of Brago. He goes wandering through anywhere and then drops in front of Edoras. So you're like, okay, that's what should happen. Instead, what happens?
Like I have any clue of what you just said.
In Lord of the Rings, the way that Aragorn, who is the hero of our story, manages to get to civilization again to be rescued is fair. It makes sense, and it is absolutely within the realm of possibility. Even the fantasy story is within the realms of possibility. In this one, Big Man gets shot, right? He drops, and then he's laying there dying, bleeding out, dying
for a while.
Right? For who knows how long. And then a truck just shows up, throws him in the back, and then he is driven back somewhere. And then you find out as the story comes to its end that it's this 85-pound woman who picked up this 450-pound man, put him in the back of a truck, somehow fucking knows how to take a bullet out and then cover that wound.
No, says, even worse. Climbed up like, what, 20 flights of stairs with him.
Yep. And then this is where I was like, what the fuck? So he has a little Sweet Tooth's little dog puppet, right?
Yeah, dog.
Gives that to Big Man, and then when he wakes up and looks over at her, it's this girl, Mother Henrietta, whatever the fuck her name is from the story, and she goes, you better get some rest. We're going to get our kids back. I was like, how in the sweet name of fuck does she know that he has a kid that he's going to go after? How did she make that assumption? Because he had a dog puppet?
My assumption is she watched the whole thing somehow. My assumption,
don't buy that at all. That was the biggest part that I was like, this is bullshit. Like that mind, one.
She has a radio too. It shows that in the apartment, I believe, or wherever they are.
That's great, but Sweet Tooth has to be talking to them, right? So because I was trying to think of this as well. Sweet Tooth saying, "Hey, we're here. We're trying to get to find Birdie." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he, remember, Sweet Tooth ran away. He's by himself. He's like, I want to get to blah blah blah. He's not with the Big Man and Bear anymore.
And then Big Man.
So how the fuck does she know that this black dude that's there is like, oh, that kid was on the radio? Well, he has this dog puppet, so clearly that kid was on the radio belongs to this guy, and he probably showed up to have a heartfelt conversation with him after he wanted to run away. So this is probably the kid of this guy. Like, I was like, dude, there's convenience and there is this, and this is right off the fucking rails.
It's enough that you can say, well, yeah, that could work. So
not for me. I was like, this one is There's a lot of them that have been done so far. That one was the worst. I was like, holy fuck, dude, that's reaching.
that whole part was just it screamed that it was missing something, or that they were just racing, trying to get to the end.
Yeah, racing to the end. Yeah,
but
it had a real Rise of Skywalker vibe where we're racing to the end.
Yeah, overall, it was good. In my opinion, it was really good show. I wanted to watch it the whole thing through. And I'm looking forward to episode 2. I only watched episode 1, tugging up my ass.
And I know all of the story.
The season 2, I'm looking forward to it.
I would call it fine. I'm not going to watch episode 2, or Jesus Christ, now I'm doing it. I'm not going to watch season 2. I don't care how the story ends. I would be interested to read the comic to see the bleakness of that story. Because I feel like this is just a story that would really benefit from a bleak outlook from all the characters in it. You know what I mean? It would make that rosy outcome of whatever happens in the end that much more deserved, because they've gone through hell to get to where they are.
So, what is your rating?
If I had to rate it
out of 100, out of 100 Netflix weekly episodes.
How about out of 100 flower cups?
Flower what?
Flower cups or flower pots. There's what I'm looking for. Sorry, flower pots. I'm new to Canada, so English isn't my first language. We've got to do something that's not R-rated. So we need what out of 100 flower pots? Out of 100 sunflowers?
Out of 100 dogs?
Out of 100 dogs, I give this
a metal arm
3.5. I'm gonna have to cut a fucking dog in half. I don't know if I had to rate it. It was passable. I'd give it a 55 out of 100. It was just enough to keep me interested, but wouldn't. I'm not going to watch season 2.
I'm going to give it an 80.
An 80. Wow. 80. Juxtaposition.
Okay, so what do you think the critics gave it?
That's a hard one because I've been wrong on this.
50 ratings.
I bet the critics. You know, I'm going to go with the critics love this dumb fucking trope.
I'm surprised.
I'm gonna say the critics love this dumb trope and gave it 70.
98%.
Holy fuck, man! Jesus Christ! Well, I knew they'd love this fucking stupid trope.
What did the audience?
What's the critic score? Yeah, what's the audience score?
Well, what do you think the audience score is out of 561?
Oh fuck! I'm gonna say the audience is the same as the critics.
90%.
So I wasn't that far off. I think this trope, and it's funny that you mentioned that. As I was watching it and I was describing it to my sons as we were just kind of sitting around the dinner table, they were like, "Man, that sounds like a cool story." And I think it's because maybe this generation hasn't seen like a big, overarching, huge morality tale, or like the go-to science fiction story. Like, when we think of my generation, or probably the generation before mine, it's Star Wars. And when you think of my generation, it's probably Lord of the Rings. Like, there are these huge, overarching, sweeping stories like the Battlestar Galacticas and the Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars and the Star Treks that are just huge, you know what I mean? And teach us all about our morality, how moral we should be, what type of people we should be. And I think that's the hole that a lot of these types of shows are trying to fill for kids nowadays. Is
I think your kids would like it.
So do I. I think they'd like it a lot, and I'm glad that it does have a great message. You know what I mean? Like, it does have everybody is different. Yeah, you can see the underlying. Everybody is different. Embrace people for difference. The people that don't are these bald-headed Nazis that just want to kill everyone. What's that? Russians are bad.
No. Concussions.
I'm sorry.
Concussions are bad.
Yeah, poor. I kept on calling him Jimmy Superfly Snuka because he reminded me of the wrestler Jimmy Superfly.
That's a racial issue. Don't do that.
It's not. He was a Hispanic guy and he had the long.
He was Samoan.
Was he Samoan? Okay,
I would assume.
Look up. Show
I know what Jimmy.
Show a picture of him and then show a picture of Jimmy. Superfly
I believe
Snuka.
Jimmy Snuka was Samoan as well. So
yeah. Also, Jimmy Snuka was an awesome fucking wrestler. He was from back in the days when I was watching wrestling.
Let me just point out to you that he is a murderer and
Jimmy
the horrible
Snucket
person.
is a murderer?
The going thing is that he most likely killed his ex-girlfriend and got away with it.
Did he do it using a wrestling move? Because if he did, then he's probably allowed to get away with it.
He's not. He's not Chris Benoit.
Stunner or whatever move he would do. This snooker,
not Benoit.
Snookerizer.
Don't. Anyway,
Snooktastic.
Let's move
Snookerizer
on to your favorite movie of the year so far.
This
Awake.
was all right. You start with Awake because I started with Sweet Tooth. You fucking start with Awake.
You love my
Try to make some goddamn fucking sense out of this movie.
I thought you were just gonna say in general. Try to make some goddamn sense for once when you're explaining something.
But hold on. Even before you start, I want to say one thing. As soon as this movie started, it says produced by E1 Entertainment. E1. Now, as soon as I saw E1 Entertainment, I knew that I was on board for a piece of shit. And I'll tell you why. So one of the biggest problems with what's going on with movie studios, and it's been happening over the last like fucking 20 years, is huge conglomerates are buying them. So Sony, but what does Sony buy? Not 20th Century Fox, the other one. Warner Bros. I can't remember. But like Disney bought 20th Century Fox, and huge conglomerate companies are buying these movie studios, right? Or these movie production studios.
Oh, what? Someone bought MGM, right? Or is in the process?
Yeah, no, I think it's Amazon is trying to buy MGM, or they did buy MGM. Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, and what happens is you start getting movies that are carbon copies of each other because they just got to do what's going to be successful, right? They're not going to take any sort of risks.
Well, yeah, that's the Netflix vibe, yeah, for sure.
But and I don't like that. But so whole reason why I come back and I see E1. Who do you think E1 is owned by?
I have no clue. I have no idea.
They're owned by Hasbro. Oh. So I was like, okay. As soon as I see E1 and it's supposed to be a gritty drama, scary thriller, I'm like, not a fucking chance in the world. Like, there is no way that Hasbro, even if you don't know that E1 is owned by Hasbro, there's no way Hasbro is going to put out something that could be interpreted as scary, racy, evil. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way it's going to be good, is all I'm saying, if it's owned by fucking Hasbro. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, yep, all right, this is going to be garbage. And I was not surprised.
I will say that this is another example of taking the Netflix money and running to the bank.
Yep, that's a good point.
Okay, so this movie I saw the trailer of and thought, oh my God, this might be amazing. Like, this is going to be, this looks so good. And I thought it was a TV series, because the trailer makes it look like no way you could fit that in a movie.
Yeah, it's going to have
some
overarching, but it looks like it's going to have some huge overarching,
a huge arc.
Yeah, to what's going on, but
nope. Okay. So the premise of this movie is, and oh my God, did I freak out to my wife about this? Okay. So the premise of this movie is, suddenly, out of nowhere, there is this, not a nuclear blast. What is it called?
A solar flare.
No, it was.
No, that's what they said. A solar flare.
Did they? I thought it was one of those. Maybe it causes one of these. It's what happens right before a nuclear blast. It's like that wave. Blast? No, that wave.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like
it happens in
like a shockwave.
Ocean's 11 to turn out the power. This is a constant trope in
like the bomb thing. Like a EMP.
EMP. There we go. So, and it's an EMP that goes off somehow. I guess later we find out solar flare. I wasn't clued in at that point.
That's what Jennifer Jason
oh my God,
solar flare.
So all of a sudden that happens. The people are not able to sleep anymore. Now, okay, The original premise that I got from the trailer was the opposite, where it's like, if you went to sleep, you would die.
Okay.
That's what I thought it was. Up until
so you've
the
got to
point.
stay awake.
Exactly. And if you didn't, like, I'm sure this was a premise of another movie in the past because it sounded so familiar. So maybe that's why they switched it around. Anyway, the premise either way sounds good on paper.
Yep.
My premise sounds better.
As long I'll preface that with as long as there is it doesn't even need to be a good reason. As long as there is a reason at the end that you can say, here's how you fix it. So we don't know why it happened, but here's how you fix it. And it has to be a good way of fixing it. This movie did neither of those.
This movie is a perfect example of having horrible to no exposition at all. You pegged it perfect after I was complaining to my wife so much during this. I was freaking out while watching it.
Usually, whenever I freak out, I start texting you. I'm not fucking talking to Karen.
What did you say to me?
Oh shit. Oh, hold on. I got it.
Because it was perfect. I laughed when you sent that to me. Usually I'm like, oh, he's talking to me about the stuff again. Stop doing that. But this time I just laughed because I was just like, yeah.
So yes, the exact text that I sent to you is, what in the ever-loving fuck is going on in this movie Awake? It seems like someone had a script, threw it in the air, and then collected it in the order that the pages landed on the ground.
And
you said, keep it for the show, to which I responded, fuck this stupid bullshit.
This was like, connect the dots when you have no clue how to use numbers.
Not even so. The movie starts with this girl. I can't even remember her fucking name. I remember her daughter's name was Matilda, and her son's name was Noah.
Let's call her Dido.
Dido. So Dido is,
that's a callback, people.
A security guard who is also stealing pills.
Yeah.
That are expired and then selling them to a drug dealer.
But we don't know if they're expired, do we?
We do, because it says the bin that she takes them from says expired drugs. So
that helps if I can read,
But that plot element goes nowhere. It has nothing to fucking do with anything.
I'm going to be your the devil's advocate, even though this movie is a trash fire. It kind of does, because like she has she comes from the army. They did experiments on her. I know I'm jumping the plot here, but they did experiments on her. She came back to normal society, and just like a lot of people that come back from military service, she has PTSD or something, and
she was an addict.
We don't know if she was an addict, though. See, the thing on that is, like, I feel like she was just she was stealing and selling the pills to make money, but then she was caught with them multiple times and she was pegged as an addict. That's what I got from the movie.
Okay, but that's still more than I got, because they didn't tell you any of that.
Exactly. There's a little bit of like assumption based off of current, like, small little things.
Where does that whole plot element of her selling the drugs to that drug dealer guy, it goes nowhere, and
it goes nowhere.
It has nothing to do with anything as the story progresses.
No,
like, I thought maybe she'd run into him again. She would, I've got a stash of pills that I haven't give this guy that I can give to Matilda to keep her awake. Nope, just forgotten about.
Well, they would show her taking the pills multiple times.
Exactly.
They didn't show any of that.
Nothing like that. So nobody can sleep. They were in a car accident as all this starts to happen. Her daughter is drowned, I guess. Because you see her being resuscitated.
Yeah.
And then spits out a bunch of water. She's back to life.
Yeah.
So what we know so far is something's fucking going on. Something weird is going on. We don't know what it is yet, right? And if I remember correctly, because this fucking movie jumped all over the place, the next thing I remember is she drives home. She meets her, I believe her mother-in-law. Her
All the
mother-in-law
cars
says,
are shutting down and
"Yep, yep, that's right. Yep,
things
yep."
are crashing. Yeah, go on.
So then she goes home to her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law says, "I'm going to take the kids to church."
That which is weird. Yeah.
But then once they get to the church, Barry Pepper, who looks super fucking old, who plays the pastor, he starts saying that little girl can sleep.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Yeah.
how does this, like, who has started talking about not being able to sleep is the issue here? Like, it
Yeah.
starts fucking happening. He just starts talking about it. And she's our angel of mercy that will help us all sleep. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
I believe there was like a day or two between these events, but they didn't make that clear.
I
And
just
then
remember them
it
showing up
totally
and then he's
jumped.
talking about that. Yep.
And
And
I
then,
was talking to the wife and I said the same thing. I was like, what, how do they know? Like, why do they, what?
yep. And then she's sleeping. And then this is where I got lost because I'm like, okay, she can sleep. She's going to lead us to the promised land. And I'm like, how? Like, and even in a spiritual capacity, which is all nonsense, how would she lead you to the promised land? Do you think because she sleeps, if you sit near her, you're going to sleep? If she prays with you, you're going to sleep? Like, what was the end game of the church?
Another part of that church situation was right before he goes and talks to them. He's talking to her, to the girl, and he's shaking, and he's saying how she's like something special, right? I felt like it was going to turn into one of those like, oh, he's going to try to molest the girl before someone gets her out of there.
Or he's going to go crazy or something.
That's because I didn't think we were there yet to the point where like they haven't been able to sleep.
I did skip one thing. So I did skip, and I just remembered it now. Her buddy, so she goes back to work with her kids for some reason, and her buddy says, "Hey, we're going to go set up a hub because there's some old lady that can sleep." Now, this old lady that can sleep, they're going to go set up a hub. That is entirely separate of the church. So when she shows up at the fucking church, how does the church know that the problem is that you can't go to sleep and this little girl is going to be their angel of mercy? Like, that whole part was just like, clearly the guys from the church read the script that went over to the guys that are going to the hub because they know what's fucking going on.
I know that we sound like we're rambling people, but the thing is this movie went from like a scene to a scene to a scene to a scene without having that exposition in the middle explaining what's going on.
So, case in point, ladies and gentlemen who are watching, I did text to speech of this exact part while I was watching it. So, in the church, a cop shoots the science guy. Then Matilda, the daughter, gets trapped upstairs above where this guy is holding a gun on everyone. Her mom goes upstairs, getting by that guy, no problem. Then in the very next scene, the mom, the daughter, and the son are all running away outside into a forest. How did they get away? How did the son know that the mother and the daughter had escaped? We have no idea. It just happened. You don't see the mother coming back down, getting past the guy with the fucking gun. They're just fucking outside.
The point of that was that the grandmother was there and she distracted them long enough for that family to get away.
How did the son was down in the church with everyone else? Only the mother went up to find Matilda. So how did the son know that they had jumped?
The son was freaking out in the church because of this dead body, the first dead body he's ever seen. And come on, we've all seen a dead. Anyway,
so I also when we meet Jennifer Jason Leigh is Dido's psychiatrist, right? And so I wrote down, this movie expects us to believe that a psychiatrist who now works in a hospital was previously a sleep torture methodologist for the army. That's quite the goddamn job change. Yeah, and it's just more and more.
It made no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, like we'll skip everything to get to the end because
No,
the end
no,
is
no. Why would you skip
all right.
everything? There's
All
so
right,
many
then
bad issues here.
then I cut you off. I'll pass it back over to you. You tell our audience what was good because I'm going to tell you. I want to take it over talking about it when we get to the chimp. That's what
Okay,
that's where I'll start.
That whole thing is another trash fire. But why? This made me so mad because I love this actor, the guy that breaks out of the prison.
Dodge.
We needed to throw someone, a really good actor, into this movie, and we needed a reason real quick to throw him in. So he's black.
I think that
prison
was
break.
I think that was all that was on the fucking resume to put the guy into the movie. Black.
No, he was in that movie with the I hate myself. A Stowaway.
Stowaway.
We were gonna watch it, but it wasn't a Netflix movie. Stowaway is a really good movie with Anne Hathaway and this black dude that is in it, and some other known actors. Anyway, go watch Stowaway. It's so much better than this movie. But he's in this, and I was like, "Who is this guy? I know this guy." And then I figured it out, Stowaway, and I'm like, "Oh, like great! This guy goes nowhere, absolutely nowhere. It's not even nowhere. Like literally goes nowhere at one point. At the end, I see your son."
Hi.
Hi.
Can you close my door?
Okay.
Thank you.
Just see him
Hey, Elliot, hold on. Elliot, come here. Come here.
What? Sounds like my son.
What is your joke about this movie, Awake?
Can it keep you awake?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Can it keep me awake? Bye.
Nope. Nope. Okay, so he broke out of prison with the rest of a bunch of inmates, becomes friends with this family in a like doesn't make sense way.
Nope.
Because like
he effectively kidnaps them.
Yeah.
And then they're all best friends.
They pull guns on each other. And then suddenly they're best friends, right? And then they go off, and we get to the end.
Yep. Well, let's.
I'll go into that
clear. More. He says, or she says, "Hey, take us to the hub." He's like, "Okay." He takes her to the hub, drops her off, just the mother. He keeps the kids and the son, or sorry, the son and the daughter who can sleep. And they get out of the car.
Nope.
And then he says, "Okay, I'm leaving. Bye."
Yeah.
He leaves. He comes back.
Yeah.
He says, "Give me the son and the daughter. You go into the hub by yourself."
Nope, not even that.
No. Okay. Oh, that just miraculously.
I don't think that's how it went down. Honestly, I think it's like he came back because like he had to come back. He's friends with them. He wants to protect them.
Why not? Right?
Whatever. And then suddenly they're at the hub. And they go in, and she decides to go off the side of the road. The mother decides to go off the side of the road and leave them all in this barn or something in the car and said, "I'll walk off."
We can't stress it enough that his reason for coming back is nothing. There is literally no. He has a car that is full of gas, and he should drive the fuck away. But he decides to come back for no romantic fucking reason.
He wants to protect them, and then he stays at the car instead of helping her.
Oh, and then hold on. So
and then it gets worse.
Right. Then they catch him, right? So this was the only part of the movie that I was like, I hope the rest of the movie is this. Everybody starts getting so tired that they start fucking wigging out. So the army guy sees a pine cone and thinks it's a fucking grenade.
She goes and sneaks into the hub. In
This
easy
uber
way.
Fucking secure facility, just walks in. Puts on a fucking lab coat, And she goes up to another girl, and the other girl's like, "Are you here for blood samples?" She looks like a fucking cocaine addict, and she's like, "Yeah,
Can I
blood
just-
samples.
can
Yeah,
I
blood samples."
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt here because something that happened just before that was the payoff to this. Throughout the whole movie, she had been trying to remember combinations of numbers. Yeah, just random combinations of numbers. Just throughout the whole movie, we're just wondering why the heck is she doing this? I guess it's something to do with her PTSD. Okay.
Not to mention, she gets it wrong the 3 fucking times before she goes up to this keypad. The other times where they drop this into the movie, she gets it wrong. The first one, she's like off by 2 numbers. The second one, not even close. Third one, not even close. And
So
then
the
she has
whole-
to type in a code.
Yeah, the whole payoff is to these moments throughout the movie was that, at this place, she has to input this code into the pad, and she gets 3 tries at it, and she gets it on the 3rd try. That's it.
Yep. And then but this is where I was like, this shit is off the rails, because she walks in, she finds a fucking lab coat just draped over a chair. She puts it on, still her civilian clothes covered in blood underneath, puts his jacket on.
It fits.
Oh, of course, fits perfectly. And then she goes to this other woman, turns around. She's like, "What are you here for?" She's like, you here for blood samples?" Yeah, blood samples. And they look like cocaine addicts. And I get it, it's because they're so out of sleep. But I loved, this is where I started, okay, this is getting fun, because if everybody's going to be like, "Oh, you got the stuff? Yeah. Keep us awake? Yeah. I was hoping it was going to be all like that, because then what happens is a soldier sees a pine cone and says, "Grenade, runner attack," and they all start shooting each other. And I'm like, this is fucking great. I was having fun at this part, because I hope the rest of the movie was just going to be everybody fucking shooting each other, right? But then
at that point it was, but you forgot the chimp part. So
then, for some reason, and we say basically you should preface "for some reason" before every single part of this movie.
The movie should be called that, not awake.
Exactly. It should be called "For Some Reason I'm Awake."
No, just for some reason.
For some reason. But she walks into an operating room where Jennifer Jason Leigh and a doctor are there. And they're working on a chimp that has its head off, but it's so they can see its brain.
Yeah.
And they say the secret to this that we found out is like the cranial fluid in the chimp's brain or something.
It's
something about the fluid in the fucking
cranial
brain.
Fluid can be drained to fix the problem, but without the cranial fluid, you have a problem. That's pretty much it. And I'm just like, what?
So then Jennifer Jason Leigh says, we're gonna kill your daughter, I think. And Matilda's mom Dido was like, "No, you can't do that." And doctor is like, "No, Jennifer Jason Leigh, we can't do that." She's like, "Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna kill this kid." You don't know what for. Like, you don't know what she's going to do with this kid. So the doctor says, "Jennifer Jason Leigh, let me give you a sedative or something to keep you awake or something." Yeah. And he goes to put it into Jennifer Jason Leigh's neck, and
the girl's like, no, don't.
But
they do it anyway.
And he puts it into her neck, and she's like, "You didn't shake it first. Now a bubble might have gone into her vein and killed her." And Jennifer Jason Leigh's like, "Oh, the bubble.
I'm dead."
And falls over and
if
dies.
There's air in your circulatory system, you can die.
Right. But that's pretty fucking convenient that she goes, "Oh, not a bubble." Oh. It just falls over fucking dead.
The kids saw the air in the vial.
You're not going to die that fucking fast from that, man.
Well, I don't know. I've always heard that kind of thing. That
I am willing to bet that since there are enough junkies that are still alive that shoot heroin into their veins with dirty needles, I am willing to bet that there's been a bubble in one of those. I don't think you die that fast. But I just fucking love the way she died. Because he gives her the fucking injection, and she goes, "Oh, you give me an injection. Oh, swoon," and falls over. It was so stupid.
It was her death scene.
But then, all right, you bring it home to this very satisfying ending.
What? What?
From what movie? Was that
That's
a different
basically what
movie
I
that
said
you
the
were
whole
watching?
movie. All I remember is shit goes to hell. Oh, okay. I figured this out. I figured out the end of the movie as soon as the girl died.
Which girl? The
At
old
the
lady?
start, no, the kid in the movie.
Oh,
When she
okay, yeah,
died
yeah,
at the
right.
starting of the movie after being then getting resuscitated by the cops. I was like, okay, that's going to be the key. And I told my
You
wife,
have to reset, as the daughter says.
yeah, you have to die and then come back. They figure that out, or the kid figures it out after the brother gets accidentally paddled. That sounds horrible. Accidentally shocked or
But
something, and
is he dead
he
already?
gets shot. He no he. What? How did
I
he
thought he was
die?
dead. I don't know.
He died, and then they shocked him back to life, and
But
to save his
how
life.
long after? How long after? Who cares? Whatever.
So
Yeah, they shocked him.
the daughter finds out her brother is alive, and she goes, holy crap, like, and then she puts the pieces together, and then the mother's almost dead. The whole compound there is dead. They've all shot each other, by the way. Okay. The mother's dying from, not dying, but she can't sleep. She's almost gonna die. The daughter figures it out, and they get the paddles. No, they were going to get the paddles. They didn't. And then they're like, you know what would be a better idea? Out of all the ways we could try to kill mom, we decide to do it one of the most painful ways and drown her.
Also,
you have paddles.
Definitely not a lot of possibility. Well, not a lot of, but her mother is in such an aggravated state. Her body has been through hell. It hasn't slept in like 7-8 days. They drown her and then do CPR to bring her back to life. Why would you not just use the fucking defibrillator that is going to shoot that fucking energy through, instead of relying on CPR to bring her back to life?
They're dumb children. And the black dude is nowhere to be found. This is what bothered me the most in this whole movie. At the end, I'm like, "Where's the black dude? Did he die?"
Now,
and my wife's like, "Yeah, scene? He died." And I'm like, "No, he didn't. We rewound it. Okay, rewind. It's a thing. It happened in VHS days. Rewind is going backwards in your scrubbing backwards. Okay, we went back to when it shows him laying there in the garage or something, and he's breathing, and then nothing.
Yep. My favorite part before that, though, was I thought sleeping, but he's just laying there in a room. They come in, people from the military, the hub, they walk in, they go, "Hey, are you really an electrician?" He goes, "Yep." They go, "Okay." And they leave. I'm like, wow, that was a fucking important. What a character building scene.
Isn't that then when they show him then escorting him somewhere?
Somewhere.
Didn't he do
I don't know where. I don't know what the fuck it
They were in the
matters
hallway, and then they just started shooting at people.
Like, okay, you're an electrician. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
This movie was so disappointing.
It was so stupid. Like, if you want to watch, and the last thing I'll bring up is Jennifer Jason Leigh explains to her that it was, best we can determine is it was a solar flare that reset our brains or something, some sort of chemical compound in our brains to go backwards, to not want sleep and to keep us awake all the time. She goes, that's the best we can figure out, that it was a solar flare. Now, I'm no astrologist. I don't know anything about how the sun works and how solar flares work, but if it was a solar flare coming from the sun, wouldn't the people that were on the side of the sun be the only ones that are affected, and the other people on the other side of the earth that are on the side of the moon would not be affected?
Keep in mind, we don't see what the rest of the world is like.
That was just what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, well, no, it hasn't affected everybody. It's only affected the people that were on the side of the sun.
It was like, okay, the writer thinks he's the most amazing thing in the planet,
Yeah,
thinks
got
he's a
super amazing
genius.
sci-fi idea.
Exactly. I have this great idea. I have where I want it to go. I have the concept, which is the most important part because it's awesome, right? And
Yeah,
and
I don't need an ending.
we
I
don't
don't
need anything
exposition.
else.
Don't need a plot.
Let's
Don't need
just
coherence.
and then we'll get there. It's fine.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Lee, you want to make $100? Come star in this movie. It's about solar flares and chimps.
It's like my
Solar
son
chimps.
was given the script, the concept, and told make a script.
Maybe the chimp was given the script. Did we ever consider that? Maybe that was the writer's cameo in the fucking movie. The chimp laying on the goddamn.
I was
table.
so mad at the end of this movie, mostly for the black dude.
Yeah, I just.
I wish I knew his name off the top of my head, but yeah,
it was a stupid movie in that it didn't even care that it didn't care. It didn't make any sense, and it didn't have any fun with it. The part where they all start blowing the shit out of each other at the ending, that was fun. That was genuine fun. Like the movie was poking fun at itself, like, oh my God, a grenade when it's a fucking pine cone. If they had meant that in all seriousness, they totally fucked that up, and it should have been done in a comical sense. I just wish more of the movie was more tongue-in-cheek and goofy like that because it was stupid. It was trying to be dramatic. It was dumb. It was awful.
I was heartbroken because I was hoping for so much, and I got so little. It was bad. It was okay. How would you rate this out of 100?
I don't want to be like arrogant, like 10 out of 100, but no, it was not a pass. It didn't have, and the only thing worthwhile, but it still gets a failing grade, was that gunfight. So I'm going to give it a 40 out of 100.
Oh, geez. 30.
30. All right.
Usually I go higher than you, but like this was such an abomination. It was, yeah, it was just, it was like you send your kid to school. You send your kid to school having worked on with him for his homework, knowing that there's a test in school the next day, and you're like, oh, freaking kid's gonna ace this shit, and he comes home with an F, and you're like, what the fuck were you doing last night?
It's like I forgot my name.
Yes.
I think I got right with the date.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think the critics gave it?
Oh, well, I have no faith in humanity, so I'm going to say 60.
Out of 44 reviews, 30%.
Oh, good. Okay, thank God. More faith in humanity.
I'm just
Restored.
I'm just showing how much I should be a critic these days. It wouldn't take much. Out of 100 plus ratings, audience score.
It's got to be around the same. It's got to be around 40.
26%.
Nice.
There ain't going to be any sequel, and this director should shove it.
Right? Thank fucking God. What could the next one be about? Where everybody's a fucking sleep and they just get dragged around?
Hopefully they go back to my wait. I don't know why the director didn't just go with if I go to sleep, I will die. Maybe it has been done.
Don't give them any ideas. Because then we're going to see Awake 2.
Oh my God. All right.
Sleepening. That's pretty good.
Everyone, if you want a good example of what not to do, pretend you watch this movie and go do something else.
That's right. Try to stay awake. It took me 4 tries to watch, and not that I kept on falling asleep or whatever, but I watched it like in lunch breaks or when I had a pocket of time. So it took me to watch this. I think it's an 80-minute movie. It's super short. To watch this entire movie, it took me four separate occasions to finish it.
Don't you hate that? And you have to come back multiple times. Oh,
the worst is when you have to come back and you're like, oh shit, what happened in that part beforehand? At least with this movie, you come back, you're like, who cares? You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter. They're not caring, so why the fuck should I care what happened 20 minutes ago?
So, Rob, write down your homework for next week. Infinite. It's not a Netflix movie, so just go find it. I think you might just remember to go enjoy it like you would a Final Fantasy movie. Nope, a Fast and Furious
An
movie.
F
It's
and
like
F movie.
a fun action romp, you know?
Now,
know it's
now
gonna be
knowing
shit.
me, do you think I'm a big fan of the Fast and Furious franchise?
Do you not go to these things just for the fun action bits?
No,
Like
I would
Mission
go to-
Impossible.
Oh, Mission Impossible is great. Fast and Furious, I'd watch for the women.
Like Fast, yeah. Yeah, because what's her name's gonna be in it? Is it Ariana Grande or someone else?
I think it's the Ari. I don't think we're allowed to like Ari Grande.
Has she been canceled?
No, isn't she too young? I can't remember.
No, she's old enough now.
Grande.
Yeah.
Is she? Okay. All right.
So it's safe. But her boobs aren't big enough for you.
That's right. That's why there's
We know Robb's type.
Charlize Theron has a great ass. She was in that movie. And she's a great actress. So for any women that are listening, yes, she's gorgeous, but she's a fucking amazing actress. So I'm not just looking at her for her great body.
Totally
She's a great
looking at
actress.
it. Anyway,
But I am looking at her ass.
And is there anything you want to cover? Because like I got nothing for this week. This week I was gonna say Penguin Town, but it's literally not up your alley. I don't think it's a series about penguins that invade a town, but it's not.
Is
fiction.
it a penguin town?
It's called a Penguin Town. It's not fiction. It's like reality TV, but not like it's a documentary style thing where this town, wherever it is, lets the penguins roam through their houses. And
I'd rather. So have you watched Aunty Donna, her Big Old House of Fun?
I haven't watched it, but I know of Aunty Donna.
Okay. Why don't we do this? I've watched Aunty Donna. My sons think it is the fucking best thing in the world. So we've watched it 100 times. This would be one of those interesting situations where I've already watched something that I think is hilariously funny to get your opinion. I think it's only like 8 or 9 shows long. They're only about 30 minutes, even like 22 minutes each show. So yeah, why don't we do Aunty Donna's Big Old House of Fun about 6 or 7 months after everyone else has done it?
Great. Aunty Donna
you know what? I'll say this. I think you'll find it funny.
I know Aunty Donna. I subscribed to them before they got a Netflix thing. But I find that their stuff is either funny or it's just boring.
Yeah, but that's like most like comedy skit groups. And there is some of this that is boring. That definitely wasn't for me. But I will say that a lot of the songs that they have in it, you'll find you and likely the rest of your family walking around singing, especially the song that opens the show, Everything's a Drum,
Then
which they've done as a comedy skit.
I have seen that part.
Yeah,
I think I saw the first.
That was the best.
I think I watched the first episode and just stopped.
Oh, really? No, you should watch the rest of it. It's stupidly fun.
But I'll do it because there's nothing else this week. Technically there is something this week. I'm just not interested in it. It's that they have a big named actor doing a show. Who cares? I don't care. It's one of the big Netflix releases, Fatherhood, I think it's called, or something like that. And I'm just like, I watched the trailer. This is a perfect example of certain movies that I don't think either of us will be interested in, where I just don't bother.
Sappy and obvious and cliche.
We're not gonna do like I've cut out some of the high school stuff. I was gonna jokingly have you watch the new Sailor Moon movies on Netflix, but I cut that out. I cut out those stupid high school rompy things. Atypical, that's the kind of stuff, you know.
I can't like. People have said to watch Riverdale, the Archie thing, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking watch Riverdale. I didn't have any interest in the fucking comics. I have no interest in that. Like I can't even feign fucking interest.
That's my wife's type of New Moon, True Blood, garbage drama.
And
it's weird.
Well, speaking of True Blood is created by a guy named Alan Ball, who the show that he made before True Blood, he made the movie he wrote the movie American Beauty, which is a spectacular movie. Mm-hmm. I'd say Sam Mendes' only good movie. And he wrote and did a lot of directing of the show 6 Feet Under, which is arguably the best show ever on television, followed up by a thin hair by Breaking Bad. But 6 Feet Under is perfection, especially that the last show, 6 Feet Under, it's perfection completely. And then when I heard Alan Ball was going to be making the show True Blood, I'm like, oh, sounds like a cool idea. And then I started watching. I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like it's like Mean Girls meets vampires. It was so fucking dumb. I hated every part of it. And now I'm kind of turned off by anything Alan Ball.
It's weird because I like the CW series like Flash, Supergirl, that kind of thing. But I feel like those types of shows are completely different from these types of shows, which are like a different type of like sappy drama.
Well, I feel like the Flash and Supergirl, they and I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes of each. They get that they're in on the joke. One of those shows where it's not funny, but they're in on the joke. The same way that Marvel was always in on the joke. Like, sure, they're saving the world, but Captain America gets to go, that is America's ass. Like, they're constantly
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah,
exactly. That's what makes it a good show. And that's the main reason DC fails and why shows like True Blood and they don't take it as half seriously as the rest of us do. And it makes it a slog to fucking watch through.
So yeah, there's people, once we get 1 or 2 viewers that are going to watch this show, and they actually have a voice,
and aren't my kids.
If there's people out there watching this and you actually have a voice, feel free to use it, because we would love to hear you on our Reddit
and
or in
recommend
comments.
Something. Yep, I'm always down to be recommended for something to fucking watch.
Oh, totally. Once we have a following, we're totally take questions on air. We'll totally like read our Reddit right on the show if there's any like interesting things to read, you know. But yeah, what I'm lost.
We were talking about how great I am.
The point is, Robb's great, and I'm just here, you know.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go.
You know, we're at the end of the show, and my answers are yep.
This has been episode 18 of Netflix Weekly.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts now. Forgot to mention that we're on Apple Podcasts, which is great.
Yeah,
Apple Podcasts,
I haven't
Google
subscribed
Podcasts,
to it yet on Apple
Spotify.
Podcasts.
And
forgot.
What's the other one we're on? The one
Everything.
Buzz. No, what the fuck?
You know what's funny?
Buzzsprout's the main one.
They're listed below, but not Buzzsprout.
Yeah, Buzzsprout. That's actually the place.
No one actually cares about Buzzsprout. Who goes, do you have a Buzzsprout? I get the point of Buzzsprout.
I've got the app on my phone. Nobody's fucking subscribing to my Buzzsprout.
It's like that other podcast one that people use to make the podcast. No one goes, do you have a pod meter thing?
SoundCloud.
No, that's
Podbean.
yeah. It's
bullshit.
So I put the prominent ones on the bottom of the screen here.
Well, I guess it's Apple, here. Google, Spotify.
Over there somewhere. Over on the
Apple, Google,
no,
Spotify.
Probably.
It should go in that order, but just flip them back.
You're doing it backwards. And guess what? Up there, Netflix Weekly. No.
Oh, that's probably the easiest place to go. Oh, yeah, you've got to update the site to have the Apple. Have you updated the site to have the link to Apple?
I already had one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, I have to add the yeah.
I was going to say, does it point to a different podcast for Apple Podcasts?
It goes to Joe Rogan's podcast.
There we go. Now we know why nobody's fucking subscribing.
No,
God, these guys love fucking drugs a lot.
When I did that new view for the podcast, the format for the YouTube, I put the iTunes logo because I knew we were going to have one. So
okay, cool.
But I haven't put it in the list of things at the bottom in the description, so I will for this one if I remember.
Yay! Now people can get us everywhere. All right. Well, it's been fun. I have been Rob. You have been
robbed. I'm not doing that one again.
I was going to say robbed of any enjoyment by watching Awake.
Yeah, I fell asleep. No, you did almost 3 times.
No, I didn't. I just stopped it after like fucking I watch it usually on lunch breaks or after work just before dinner. So I watched it in like 40 minutes.
Every time there was no context.
It didn't matter for this fucking movie though.
Phil.
Yeah, now you got to edit all that shit out so it looks like you said it right after I said Rob and. But you know what? Have a long pause there as well. Rob and then fucking 20 seconds of dead air. Phil. All right. Well, I think we're both losing
We're
it.
dead.
So
We're gone.
I think this is the end. All right. Bye, everybody. Da, da, na, na, na. Da, 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 na, na. I have a donut. Fuck. I forgot to bring it up. Love you, donut.